Hey there, neighbors and naysayers. Clint Finney on July 4th, 2023. Hey, I came up here on the hill to accept a phone call from someone special and just had a minute and thought how nice it was, the view up here, and a nice day and the wind breezing. I'm sitting here in the shade. Of course, I got this dead snag in my way that's kind of blocking my view, but just thought I'd share panoramic view from up here. That's Cottage Lane, and I'm kind of following along the side. And if we can see deep into the dark hollow right here, which you really can't, Dillonville would be right underneath of us. This is a section of the farm we call the Badlands. This upper field here is about 3.5 acres. I just finished grazing it with the sheep and the stalker steers or grass-fed steers. The lower part hasn't been grazed yet because it's rough and it's real hard to build fence on. So we'll build one strand fence off the seat of the four-wheeler to graze them there. But if you can see that kind of brushy fence line in the distance there, that's the property line between me and our good neighbor John. The white house is John's house, but the field there in front of John's house is ours. I was just over there building fence. It's where the sheep will be here for this next week. Tall, over mature forage, just trying to run it down and get a fence built and get sheep on it. We're having trouble keeping the sheep in right now. We're having trouble keeping fence hot because it's been so hot and humid and it's wet and it rains about every other day. We're not going to complain about the rain, we'll take it, but it's just a nightmare trying to keep the fence warm. I get shocked, but somehow they don't. So it's been part of my day today is putting fences back together. I had the thought as I'm sitting up here, so this field right below us is about 30% slope or more. Over to the right it slips pretty good, but it took me probably almost 10 minutes to get from that field to here on a trail. If our ground were flat, which I just got done looking at some Facebook posts from some folks in Nebraska and Missouri and looking at their ground and how flat it is, and if our ground were flat, we'd only have half the acreage, I'm afraid. I mean, I'm a surveyor and I know that that's not true, but it also makes you think about how little production we get from our acres because we farm on a slope. So our yield where we say it's 3 and 4 tons of the acre is probably less than that if you actually figured out the surface area of the ground, but that's all right. It's because our water runs off. We don't have drainage issues here because our water all runs off and runs to the creek. So I thought it was just a pretty picture. If you can see the barns, the tank and the hog barn through the crack there is ours, but then out in the distance you can see Bob Haar's blue silo. His place by road is probably about 3 miles, but by air it's probably less than half a mile from the farm. We can see his lights at night. Back when it was a dairy, you could kind of tell when he was done milking because the lights would go out. So just thought it was a cool video, especially on July 4th. Some folks like fireworks. I like pretty horizons and sky and clouds, and it's a beautiful day here to celebrate Independence Day. Of course, I'm not really celebrating a whole lot. The boys are with their mother, and at some point tonight I'll get home and have supper, and I may have a hot dog just for nostalgia's sake, but that'll be about it. And today was just a day to catch up for me, get some fences built, get some stuff done, go back to work tomorrow. Happy birthday, America. With that, I'll say, see you next time.